All right, so today we're gonna look at like how to turn any profit property into a profit plan. That's the goal today. We're gonna look at like what a good deal is. So today's goal is for you to feel like you have a really good idea of what a good real estate deal is, and how to find out if it's a good real estate deal. Hopefully you're seeing the slides here. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? Can y'all see the screen? All right, perfect. And we'll try to keep this to less than 18 minutes so that you can get on with your day and actually make some offers because that's what causes you to have progress. Okay. All right. So, first things first. Okay. We're going to break down a real estate deal and then we're going to practice determining if something is a good deal. Very simple day. Okay. You probably heard this before. A good formula here is the ARV, okay, multiplied by zero point 0.7, okay, minus repairs is going to give you your max allowable offer for a good flip. This is a good flip property. This is a good starting place, okay? Has anybody ever seen this formula before and said this is a good place to start? Okay, Audrey's like, no. Okay, perfect. You've seen it now, okay? So if somebody says, what's a real estate? I need to know how to know what a good deal is. Just start with the after repair value. That's what ARV stands for. That means what is it going to be worth after you fix it up? Okay. Then multiply it by zero point 0.7. Okay. Why are we multiplying by zero point 0.7? Because we're taking 30% and we're saying 30% is going to be like the cost of our money. That's going to be the cost of the taxes. That's going to be profit, right? Because we want a profit too. So that 30% is profit and the 70% is what it's going to cost us to do this deal. Okay. So we're going to do after repair value times zero point 0.7 minus repairs. Okay. We got to figure out how much it's going to cost to fix the property up. And that's going to give us our max allowable offer. Okay. Now, somebody might say, okay, repairs. How do I estimate repairs? Estimated rehab costs. Okay, y'all, how do you estimate repairs? Um, a good way to think about estimating repairs is like no work, light work, okay, medium work, and heavy work. Okay. If you don't know which one it is, do you think you should estimate higher or lower? You're gonna estimate higher if you don't know how to do that yet. Okay. I have never purchased a property that needs no work for 70% off. Okay, we're talking about 70%, right? We're talking about 30% off. So we're talking about 70% of the value. Of course, you can go on the market and buy something for retail price that doesn't need any work. That's not what we do. As investors, we look for a property problem or we look for a property owner problem, and they're usually going to sell for zero point 0.7 to zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.3 even if you get a really good deal. Okay. So repair costs start with needs no work. Okay, very rarely are you going to find those. Maybe it needs light work. Okay, light work we're going to say is 10 to 15K. Notice that I didn't start with 3K or 5K. Y'all know how hard it is to get something done for 3K nowadays? Almost, yeah. I just like shaking my head. Like y'all, people don't even want to get out of their bed for $3,000. Okay. Now, of course, sometimes you can get stuff done for reasonable prices. We encourage you to do that. But I'm just saying, when you're first looking at a deal, just start with light work, like 10K to 15K. Take that off of your ARV times zero point 0.7 minus repairs. If somebody tells me the house doesn't need anything, I still build in 10K into my formula. And then I ask them for pictures to show me in video, right? And I'm always going to see something anyway. If they tell you that it's kind of a medium, this is a medium rehab. Okay, a medium rehab right now is 25K. Okay, medium rehab is stuff like countertops, maybe paint, maybe flooring. Okay, medium rehab 25K. Now, some of you are like, but I want to get more specific. Get more specific once you look closer to the deal and you know you have a motivated seller. But you don't need to be specific when you're making offers. Okay. You don't need to be down to the nitty gritty because you're not going to make enough offers doing that. Some of the people in the room know you could spend a lot of time doing rehab bids and all of that and not making offers. And then 6 months go by and you're like, why don't I have something under contract? You don't have something under contract because you're not making enough offers. So for repairs, just medium, if it's medium, paint, flooring, countertops, maybe a few lights and fans, it's 25K. Okay. Then you got your heavy rehab. Okay. So your heavy rehab means it needs everything. This is roof. This is HVAC. This is plumbing. This is electrical. Miguel, the one you wanted to do the other day, you think that was heavy rehab? We couldn't even get in the house, y'all. They wouldn't let us in. Okay. We're going to assume heavy rehab here. Okay. So heavy rehab means don't, right now, what we're estimating is somewhere around $80 a square foot. Okay. That's a lot of money. So if it's 1,000 square foot house, okay, we're looking at $80,000 rehab. If it's 2,000 square feet, that means $160,000 rehab. Now, somebody's going to say, well, that's just too high. $160,000 is a lot of money. Okay. You're right. $160,000 is a lot of money. But when you're first looking at these deals, I'm trying to speed up your decision making time on making an offer. Okay. So if you feel like you can offer a little bit more, like Miguel did, Miguel felt like, okay, maybe I can offer a little bit more for this one. Use your own judgment there. But I'm just telling you based on experience, things cost way more than you think and they take longer than you think. Okay. So it's better to estimate repairs higher. Okay. That's going to give you what you should offer. And what you should offer is going to seem low to you. If what you're offering seems low to you, you're headed in the right direction. Thumbs up. Okay. If what you're offering seems fair for the property, that's a different strategy than what we teach. Okay. Maybe you are investing for long term. Okay. But we teach you to get a deal so that you can actually make some money. Also, if you get a good deal investing this way, you should have the option to wholesale the property, to flip the property, or to keep it as a rental. It should work for all three if you're using this formula. Okay. Um, Also, my suggestion is to not do anything if you're not going to make at least 20K. Okay. Because in real estate, 20K can go away as fast as I snap my finger. Okay. So if the numbers don't pencil and it looks like you're not going to make at least 20K, some people will do a deal and say, I'm going to make 10K. If you flip a property and you make 10K over 6 months, you might as well had a job. Okay. You might as well go to the 7-Eleven and work at 7-Eleven because you would have made more money and took a lot less risk than buying a house and doing all this work. Okay. So 20K, I think right now in my business, it's like 7,500 a month is minimum what I want on a flip. Okay. So some people go up to 10,000 a month. Like for us to take this risk, we kind of want to make at least $7,500 a month if we're flipping something. So if it's a 3 month project, we want to make 20, 22, 23, whatever that number is. If it's a 6 month project, then we really kind of want to be making something around 30K. That's a good target. I might not have done the math right there, but that's something, that's kind of where we're at. I think 6 months, it might be a little bit more. All right. So, any questions so far from the people that are watching this live? If you're watching this later, shoot me a DM or put a comment in the school community. But we do have some folks that are watching this live, so I want to make sure if we have any comments or questions that I get to those. Don't forget, you got to come off mute if you have something to say. All right, they're not saying anything. Let's see. Chat box says, I'm experiencing that now with the medium rehab. Oh yeah, it's costing more than you. I bet you that's what you're talking about. It's costing more than you thought and taking longer than you think. Yes, absolutely. I'm experiencing that right now with rehabs as well, so don't worry. All right. All right, so here's an example deal. We'll do the formula, okay? So in this example, our ARV, okay, our after repair value is going to be 250,000. Okay, we're going to say it's a $40,000 repair. We're using round numbers, okay? We're going to ask what is the maximum allowable offer, okay? If you take a look at our answer, it's $135,000, okay? So here's the question. If somebody is offering a property at 190, this is very common right now. Okay. If they're offering the property at 190 and the ARV is 250, like it is in this example, and the repairs are 40,000, what should you offer? Should you offer the 190? They're asking 190. I pretty much get this question every day from somebody on social media or somebody in my DMs or in my phone. They're asking 190. Okay. This is very common right now that deals are being sent out that won't be profitable, right? You won't make any money if you overpay. So you should offer what your maximum allowable offer allows you to offer. This is going to ensure that you have equity in the deal. If it's a rental property, this is going to ensure that it actually cash flows to some degree, unless you're buying a very expensive property. This is going to ensure that you're going to make money, okay, one way or another. If you can get it cheaper, that's even better. Sometimes y'all will text me a deal and I'll say, could you get it cheaper? Right? Could you get it for less? Why? Because I actually want you to make money. Okay. I want you to know that something's going to come up that you may have not have thought of. Okay. Something's going to come up. I promise. Something's going to come up. This morning, we're dealing with ACs that went out over the weekend. Y'all know we got 3 hot days coming up. So I got to fix these people AC before this bad weather. Otherwise, somebody might die. Safety issue for real. Okay. And so the AC people know this and they're charging good money right now. All of the AC guys are up right now. Okay. Um, Anyways, this is an example deal. Hopefully y'all get this. Okay. Your maximum allowable offer in this case is 135. All right. So here's a sample deal. Y'all tell me, what should we offer here? Put it in the chat box. We got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Dallas. The ARV is $180,000. It needs $35,000 in repairs. The tenant has not paid in 4 months. Okay. And we got taxes at $3,600 a year. I want to hear what y'all would offer. What are y'all thinking here? I got one answer in the chat box. I'm gonna see if we get a few more. Twana was quick with the draw. Give a few more people a second to answer this.
Hey, John.
Hey, that's me.
So technically the MAO, you want to offer under that amount. You want to start off under that amount, correct?
Generally, I'm gonna start somewhere around like 85% of as much as I can offer. So
Okay.
yeah. Usually I will start even lower.
Okay.
And not only that, Twana, usually I will actually ask the seller to give me their number first. Like that's what we teach inside the course. Because sometimes the seller's number is lower than my max allowable offer,
Mm-hmm. True.
right? So that's the best strategy to use is as much as possible, try to get the seller to give you a number first.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we got another answer here. I only see one answer in the chat. So does somebody else have an answer you want to give out loud? Twana says 91K is what she put in the chat. Does anybody agree with her? She put 91,000. Twana, I'm gonna say, like, don't forget now that if the tenant hasn't paid in 4 months, that you're probably also gonna have to spend 3 months kicking them out. Miguel and I actually looked at a deal like this last week. The numbers are great on the deal. I don't know if it's sold yet, but the numbers are good. But the tenant hasn't paid rent in 3 years.
Oh, God.
The lady basically she's selling the house because she just gave up on trying to get them out of there. And we had an investor who went over and looked at the house and they laughed at him and said, ha ha, good luck trying to get us out of here if you buy this. So these people, like, I would not offer the maximum allowable offer on that house if that was the case, because
Correct.
you're gonna have to spend 3 months paying the insurance, the taxes, the utilities while you get these people out. And you're gonna have to pay a lawyer probably to get them out. And they're probably gonna make that repair number higher because they're gonna damage the house on the way out.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
So, this is a way to look at it. It's like, look at your risk appetite. These formulas are not like absolute, okay? But this is a way to quickly make an offer sooner, right? So if you started off at 91K, you might notice they might take your offer immediately
Hmm.
because they know how much of a headache you're going to have. So it might be better to start asking them, what are they asking for the house? And my favorite way to say it is, if I made this transaction easy for you, and if I made it to where you didn't have any hassle and I closed quickly, what's the cash price?
Okay.
Right? That's my favorite way to say it. If I made this easy for you where you didn't have any headaches, you don't have any contingencies. If I made this easy for you, what's the cash price? If you could just be done. I had one of these last week actually, and the lady was like, 33,000 is it. And this was in Dallas, and I was like, done. But we're gonna have some serious headaches to deal with that particular house. I think I have a crazy person in there, and they have some extra rights that protects them. Okay, so it's gonna be a while to get them out, but I got the house so cheap that it's gonna be worth dealing with it.
Hmm.
Okay. So this is a sample deal. Hopefully this helps you all as you think about like what's a good deal. I wanted to make this simple before we do some seller calls. But the faster you can get to this, the faster you can weed out all the stuff that's not a good deal. Okay. Now, in certain areas, I know Miguel is looking for a flip right now. In certain locations, 75% of the ARV is okay. Okay. In certain hot areas, like I'm in Mansfield, Texas. That's where I do most of my flips. Okay. I'm somewhere in a hot location. 80% might be okay. Okay. 80%, when I say 80%, I mean the ARV times 80%. I would never go to 80% if I'm in a rural area or if I'm in an area where, it's not a good area to sell properties. But if I'm in a hot location where things sell really quick, I might go up to 80%, as long as when I calculate my profit, it still meets my target for $7,500 a month minimum. Okay. The reason I say this is because some people will say this formula and they'll just use this formula as absolute. Okay. But y'all, if you can buy a property in a hot area and make $40,000 in 2 months, that's pretty good right now. Okay. Because there are areas where properties are still selling as quickly as you can get them on the market. So look at this as a quick way to look at it, but then also look at the actual market dynamics of where you are. Because if other investors are paying 80% of the ARV and you're making all of your offers at 70%, you may never get a deal, right? If you're doing it that way. But this is a good formula to kind of start off with. All right, I'm done with the kind of session part here. We're going to close this out.